Hey everyone, it's your girl Layla. Welcome back to my channel.
Through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go.
In today's video, I wanted to talk about my journey switching from antiperspirant to natural slash deodorants without aluminum. So I'm gonna go through the process of what it's like changing from being an antiperspirant girl to deodorant. So if you are not already subscribed, please go ahead, click the subscribe button below. I upload 3 times a week, Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. So when exactly did I decide to make the switch? Well, it was about the beginning of last year, around the time that Andy moved in with me. We were actually shopping for deodorant for him. We were in the aisle for like, you know, a couple minutes, and I was like smelling them, of course, because I was bored, and I'm like, how about this one? And he's like, no, that's an antiperspirant. And then I would like suggest another one, and he'd be like, no, that's an antiperspirant. And I'm like, well, what's the difference? Because my mom has been telling me for years, like ever since I started wearing antiperspirants in the first place, she told me not to wear them because they cause cancer. Aluminum is really bad for you. It clogs your pores, etc. I never really listened to her. And then Andy was like, you know, you shouldn't be using antiperspirants. They're really bad for you. And I'm like, but why? So I already knew what the answer was. They do block your pores, and how is that a good thing? It's not really a good thing. Your body needs to get rid of its toxins and not keep that in your body, and especially around your underarm area. It's like really close to your breast. So yes, there is a risk of getting cancer from aluminum based products. So I was telling Andy at that time, I was like, it's really hard to find deodorant, like women's deodorant, because men have like antiperspirant and then they also have deodorants, but women, back then, we only had like for Dove and Secret and stuff like that, it was all antiperspirants. And I was like, yeah, it's really hard to find one. But then he was like, why don't you just buy men's deodorant? So I did. I ended up buying one by Old Spice. It was like lavender wilderness or something like that. It smelled really good. It smelled like lavender flowers. And I also went ahead and bought a natural one. This one is by Schmidt's, and this is the rose and vanilla deodorant. So I bought those two at the time. I kind of like alternated between the two. I honestly did not know anything about switching from antiperspirant to deodorant. I didn't know that there would be a big issue. I didn't know that there would be much of a difference. I thought it would be pretty much the same. I just assumed that deodorants just didn't last as long. But I was so wrong on that one. So let me give you guys kind of a backstory. I have been wearing antiperspirants since the age of like 14. So prior to that, my mom had this like crystal deodorant from the Philippines. I think you could still get it in the stores and stuff like that, but it's really hard to find unless you live near a Filipino store. So it was just this crystal. You'd run it under like warm water and then you'd use it. So it didn't have a scent, and it was just a big gigantic crystal. So it was just very non-travel friendly, I guess. Like you couldn't bring like a crystal with you. Well, you could, but it would just be weird, you know what I mean? Like it's not as convenient, especially if you're in kind of like a locker room setting at your school and everything like that. It's kind of weird to just like pull out a ginormous crystal, run it under hot water, and then use it, you know? So that's what I would use from like the age of like, I don't know, from like 6 years old when I was in soccer practice until I was like 14. And then I started using the traditional like antiperspirant. I didn't at all have an issue. Like it would last me all day. It would last me into the next day. Like I didn't have any issue with any kind of odor, nothing like that. Even when I was going through puberty in my teens, I didn't deal with any type of like BO or anything like that. So I was super lucky in that sense that antiperspirants just really worked well for my body type until about a year and a half ago. And I just started noticing that a lot of deodorants just stopped working for me. So I went from like Dove to Secret, back to Dove to Secret again. I just started noticing that there was some kind of like odor that would come from my underarms, and that's completely natural, okay? But I just started noticing it, and I'm like, this is super weird. So I would switch to like the spray-on deodorant from Dove. So prior to that, I would be using deodorant every morning right before I would go to work. So I read online an article on why deodorants stop working for you, and like the proper way to wear deodorants is to like put it on right after your shower, like before you go to sleep, and then like in the morning and that type of thing. So I started doing that. It started working for me again. And then I decided, you know what? I'm gonna try to switch to deodorants without aluminum and see what happens. And I'm like, this could be a really, really bad idea, but it could also be a really good idea, and it's a lot healthier. So I tried to alternate between the Old Spice one that I had and the Schmidt Rose and Vanilla. I started noticing, like the first week I was using it, there was absolutely no change whatsoever. It was like completely fine. I still wasn't sweating as much. I didn't have any like BO, nothing like that. Like it was completely fine. It was just like me switching from like Dove to Secret again, and then having it like work, I guess. So the first week was completely fine, completely normal. I think I was just using this one, the Schmidt one. And then the second week I started noticing like it just wasn't lasting as long. I would kind of smell just a little bit. And I was like, oh, I don't like this. You know, I need to either start bringing it to work with me, or I need to start using like a different type of deodorant. So there's me. I switch again. I switch to the Old Spice, and I kind of use that. I use that up. I remember bringing it with me to work. I would reapply it like one time at work, so I would always have it with me. If I had like a really long day where I was outside for a long period of time, I would take it with me. I would reapply it. So I never really had an issue with it. And then I finished that one. Summer came along. I had some antiperspirants left over. I had a Dove deodorant stick, and I also had like one of my spray ones, like the dry spray. So I was like, you know, I own this stuff already. Might as well just use it up. It took me until the beginning of December to use up all my antiperspirants. And then I was like, it's time to switch. And the only deodorant that I had was this one. So I remember my first experience with this one, and I'm like, oh no, do I really want to do this to myself again? Do I really want to do this to myself again? I decided, you know what? Yes. So I went into a Rocky Mountain soap factory, and I was looking at their deodorants. They were very expensive, but they are like locally made, and they're organic, they're 100% natural and stuff like that. So I was just telling the sales associate about my experience with natural deodorants and how it just didn't work for me, and I'm wondering like if there's any secret way to apply it, because I'm thinking about switching back to this one. So she was telling me that your underarms have to go through like a detox phase. And I'm like, I didn't know that. Like, I just kind of gave up right away. Like, as soon as it stopped working for me, I would like give up and go back to antiperspirant. And she's like, no, your body goes through a detox phase for about a month or 6 weeks, around that time. And you'll notice that you sweat more. And it's basically your body is getting rid of the years of wearing antiperspirants. So antiperspirants block your pores. It takes about a month to 6 weeks to get your pores like unblocked so they can like sweat again. And you'll notice that you sweat a little bit more, and there's a little bit more odor during that time because your body is basically detoxing itself. So I was like, oh, maybe I should give this a try again. So in the beginning of December, I decided it was a good month because it's cold outside. Even though, you know, it's the time where people go Christmas shopping, you're outside all the time, and I feel like winter coats just make you sweat excessively. Like, I don't know, is that just me? Anyways, so I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead, make the switch, try this out, and see what happens. So the first week was completely normal. Like, it was completely normal. This deodorant, I will say though, this is like gone, by the way. This is like empty. So I love the smell. It smells so good. It smells like roses. If you don't like roses, you probably won't like this. My mom hates the smell of this because she hates the smell of roses, but I really like the smell of this. Anyways, my first week with it, it's really hard, okay, you guys? So it's almost like that crystal deodorant that I was talking about earlier. Like, it's very like rough. You don't wet this at all. You just you're supposed to hold it like on your armpit, get it to like warm up a little bit, and then use like a tiny amount. And you're not supposed to use it after you shave or anything like that. So because this is just very harsh. Like, it's not harsh as in it's chemically, because it's 100% natural, but it's just really like gritty and hard, and it's kind of annoying. But so yeah, it took me a while to get used to that, but the first week was completely fine. Like, I didn't smell at all. I didn't like sweat excessively. It was completely fine. The second week comes along, and part of that week I'm fine. The only thing that really annoyed me about this deodorant is that the color. So if you're wearing white or light colored clothing, your pit area is gonna be like that color. Like, it does come off, like when you wash your clothes and stuff like that, it doesn't completely stain it, but that's something to be mindful of. Make sure you're washing your clothes very often if you're wearing this type of deodorant. So my 3rd week goes by and I'm kind of like sweating a lot more, and I have to reapply this a little bit more, like 4 times a day. And then my 4th week comes along and it's completely beautiful, sunshine and roses, and I'm loving life again. And this is actually working out for me. So I'm applying it in the morning before work, after work, like right when I go to the gym, and then after my shower right before I'm about to go to sleep. So 3 times a day. That's completely reasonable. Like, it doesn't really affect me. It's not annoying, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not sweating throughout the day where I feel the need to like reapply this and it's kind of a burden to me. Like, it's not like that at all. Like, 3 times a day is very reasonable, and I mean, that was fine. It worked out great until I ran out of it. So then I went back to the store and I'm kind of like, do I want to repurchase that one again? Do I want to try something else? And I found that Dove and Secret both carry an aluminum-free deodorant now. It's this one right here. It's the Dove 0% aluminum, and it's 0% alcohol as well. It contains 1/4 moisturizers, and I got the cucumber and green tea scent because this was one of my favorites when I did use their antiperspirant. So this does say on the cap that it's supposed to last 24 hours, which is a bunch of bullshit because it does not last 24 hours whatsoever, not even close to lasting 24 hours. But this is a more pleasant deodorant to use because, oh, it smells so good. Because it's so smooth. Like, it's not at all like the other one where you have to, like, it's gritty and the texture is kind of weird. But yeah, this one is a lot better to apply. So if you are thinking about switching deodorants, definitely check out either Secret or Dove. They both have an aluminum-free version. However, I had to go through that weird-ass detox phase again. Like, I didn't expect that to happen, but I guess when you're switching formulas, maybe that has to happen. Like, I'm still really confused and I'm still debating on whether or not I should go back to the Schmidt one, even though I did not like the texture of that one whatsoever. This one does not last anywhere near 24 hours, okay? First week I had this, it was completely fine. I was already used to the way I was applying the Schmidt deodorant. I was doing the same thing, applying it 3 times a day. It was all good. And then the 2nd week comes along, I start sweating more. 3rd week comes along, I noticed that like 4 hours into my work shift, I start smelling again. I start smelling kind of like that onion smell. Like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that's about. It's my body detoxing, clearly. But I'm like, what is going on? Like, I don't know what's going on now. Definitely at the minimum have to apply this one 4 times a day. It is a bigger stick, but it's more annoying because you do have to apply it so often. I'm at probably the 4th week of using this right now. The 4th week, and it's still the same. Like, I still have to apply it 4 times a day for it to work. So I kind of miss having the Schmidt one because I would only have to apply that 3 times a day. But yeah, I don't know if this one is worth it, is worth my time. I don't think I would repurchase this unless like my 5th week or 6th week, like the next 2 weeks coming up, if I start having to use this less and if I start sweating less, then I will repurchase this one again because it is cheaper. But so far, I don't love this one at all, and I'm still going through the struggle of switching to deodorant from antiperspirant. Like, I honestly, a part of me does want to switch back to antiperspirant even though I know it's really bad for me. And I've spent like since the beginning of December just using plain deodorant with no aluminum, so I'm kind of a little bit disappointed that I do want to go back to antiperspirant someday, but I feel like it's like less of a hassle. Like, you literally have to apply it like once a day and you're good. So yeah, that is pretty much my journey switching to natural deodorant slash, this isn't natural, this is like aluminum free, and it still has, what is it called? This still has, if you guys care, it has propylene glycol. So that's what's in men's deodorant, like not the antiperspirant, but like the actual deodorant. So yeah, that's been my journey. It's been a rough one. Is it worth it? I feel like some days no, I don't think it's worth it, but some days I'm like, yes, I'm doing something good for my body. I'm not putting harsh chemicals like aluminum into my system anymore. So I do want to try like a detoxing, like there's underarm detoxing mask. I'm kind of curious if those actually work. So I might go ahead and try one someday. There's so many types of deodorant on the market now that you can definitely try this out, especially now that it's kind of still winter. Like we're still in February. It's a good time to try to transition. It's not like the middle of summer where you're really hot and sweating all day long. So I would definitely try it and see if it's right for you, but I'm not like pushing this on anyone, you know. So that's just my journey. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you guys soon in my next one. If you're not already subscribed, please go ahead, click the subscribe button below. I upload 3 times a week, Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if you guys want an update, let me know. I just thought I would talk about it because this is kind of part of the beauty community, I guess, because this is technically like a beauty product. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my video. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side.